So let's think about what I would do if I had like a big pile of pennies. Right? It would look something like this. And let's say I wanted to count these pennies. Right? I could count them one by one, 1, 2, 3, 4, but that's tedious. However many pennies there are here, I probably don't want to count them. Right? I'm likely to make a mistake in that process and be off in my count, and as we all know, being off by 1 penny is a huge deal. What might we do instead of counting these one at a time? Well, one of the things that we could do is organize these pennies into piles of 10 each. You see that each of these piles contains 10 pennies. Right? You see the 10 pennies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now how do we count them? Well, I could point to this pile and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Point to this pile and then say another 10 numbers. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to point to this pile and say just the name of the 10th number, 10. And then point to this pile and say just the name of the number that's 10 numbers on, right? 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I see that I have 60 pennies. What have I done here? Well, remember how we listed out the 2-digit numbers. We've cycled through the 10 digits once, and we get to 10. Again, and we get to 20. Again, and we get to 30, and so on. To count my 60 pennies, instead of naming all 60 counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, and so on, I've just named the tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I've skipped 10 numbers each time I counted. This process is called skip counting. We can skip count by any value, and we'll talk about that again later. But right now we are most interested in what happens when we skip count by a number like 10, or 100, or 1,000, starting with 0. When we skip count by 10 starting at 0, we name the numbers 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. These numbers are called the tens, or we might refer to them as multiples of 10. That word multiple is one that we're going to be seeing a lot of later on. When we skip count by 100, starting at 0, what numbers do we name? We name the numbers 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and so on. These numbers, creatively enough, we're going to call the hundreds. Or again, multiples of 100, but we'll talk more about that word multiple later. In general, when we skip count by 1 followed by some number of zeros, we get numbers that have that many zeros at the end. And we name the numbers that we list in this way using the name of the place value the 1 is in. I'm going to have you try one of these real quick. List the first 6 numbers that we name if we skip count by 1,000. And tell me what you think that this list of numbers ought to be called. Pause the video and try this now. So when we skip count by 1,000, starting with 0, we name 0, then 1,000, then 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and so on. And what place value is the 1 in here? It's in the thousands place. These numbers we will call the thousands.